From femme fatale to distinguished royal consort, life's journey for the Duchess of Cornwall has never been anything less than long and bumpy. Now, aged 69, she inhabits calmer waters. Yet it seems only yesterday that, as Camilla Parker Bowles, the Duchess was public enemy number one. But the world moves on. These days, she's a global figure, jetting off on a grueling tour of the Middle East with her husband Prince Charles, playing an important part in securing the friendship of Arab nations and spreading goodwill. And enjoying herself in those dusty countries where, because of a lack of press freedom, there's never a whiff of scandal around a royal personage. Not that these days there's very much that's scandalous about Milla, as she was briefly known at Secretarial College in the 60s. But still the occasional nugget pops up to keep us intrigued. For example, in her new book On the Fringe, interior decorator Imogen Taylor reveals how the Duchess was fired from one of the few jobs she held down before her 1973 marriage to a cavalry officer. Enthusiastic party animal that she was, Camilla was sacked for being late for work at the posh interior designers Colfax and Fowler after attending a dance the night before. Miss Taylor, now 90, recalls, "There were a lot of debutantes working for us, including Camilla. She worked for us for a moment, but then got the sack." At the time, Camilla was sharing a flat with a fellow ex-deb Jane Wyndham, who went on to find fame in the world of interiors as Jane Spencer Churchill. Jane took her job at Colfax and Fowler seriously. Camilla was more light-hearted about forging a career. As a girlfriend of the time put it, 9 to 5 wasn't important. Evenings, weekends, horses, hunting, people, parties, that's what counted for Camilla. She moved with a lively crowd. Lively they were, as we shall see. Imogen Taylor recalls that Camilla's downfall was occasioned by her boss Tom Parr, a temperamental man prone to explosions of rage. He would shout and bellow so the building heard every word, recalls Miss Taylor. He'd roar, "Get out, you silly BH! Go leave at once! I can't have people like you in the firm," when some poor girl had merely folded something the wrong way or done something very minor. The Duchess of Cornwall was one assistant who fell victim to his tantrums. She came in late having been to a dance. But then life at the time, the mid to late 60s, was one long party for Camilla. As I revealed in my biography, A Greater Love, it all kicked off with a drinks party in March 1965 which signaled her launch as a debutante. The season, as it was called, was a highly competitive social merry-go-round where the girls who got the most attention were the prettiest. Camilla was not one of them when compared with the likes of Lady Mary Gay Curzon, the loveliest girl of that year, and mother of Prince Harry's ex-squeeze Cressida Bonus. But what she lacked in conventional beauty was more than made up by her personality and undeniable sex appeal. She was still only 17, but one of the guests at the party was Rupert Hambro, of the banking family, and while the unwritten rule of the season was good girls don't, Camilla did. Pretty soon they were lovers. Others claim the person who took Camilla's virginity was Kevin Burke, an independently wealthy 19-year-old who was then a handsome fixture on the deb scene. She was terrific fun, immensely popular, and although she wasn't a beauty like Mary Gay, she was attractive and sexy, recalled Burke later. She was never tongue-tied or shy, she always had something amusing to say. He added, "I remained with Camilla all that year. I suppose we were in love. Then she ditched me." Pretty soon she bumped into a cavalry officer called Andrew Parker Bowles. His brother Simon worked for her father Bruce Shand at his upmarket wine merchants called Block Grey and Block. All very traditional. But they weren't called the Swinging Sixties for nothing, and while her flatmate Jane followed the traditional deb route, marrying Lord Charles Spencer Churchill, brother of the Duke of Marlborough, Camilla and Andrew swung. As the Mail's legendary diarist Nigel Dempster later wrote, Andrew lived in a bachelor apartment in Notting Hill, and it was there that he and Camilla began a very hot affair. Andrew was an accomplished lover and quickly proved himself to be an unfaithful one too. He had a penchant for beautiful titled women, including Lady Caroline Percy and Lady Amabel Lindsay. Perhaps out of revenge, Camilla cast her eye about, too. Her jilted lover Kevin Burke recalled how much store Camilla placed in the fact that her great-grandmother Alice Keppel had been Edward VII's mistress. She was always mentioning it, as if it were something almost talismanic, he remarked. And so we can see where the seeds were sown for the greatest royal love affair since Edward and Mrs. Simpson. But that was still some way in the future. There were a few more parties to go to first. For a while, her soldier boyfriend was two-timing her with Lady Caroline Percy, daughter of the Duke of Northumberland. I certainly knew I wasn't the only person being taken out by him at the time, Lady Caroline later recalled. There were always other girls and older women. I never knew Camilla very well when we came out, but when I was with Andrew she would come up to me at parties and ask me what I was doing with her boyfriend. Camilla was always doing this to girls. But I got fed up with it and I said to her, "You can have him back when I've finished with him." And so the partying went on, with Andrew picking up and dropping Camilla at will. He behaved abominably towards her, recalled Lady Caroline, but she was desperate to marry him.